what style of play does Temple have, and who are players to watch for them?
They have two elite guards in Khalif Battle and Damian Dunn. Damian Dunn's probably gets to the free throw line as good as any guard in the nation. Last night he was 16 for 18. Against East Carolina, he's had several games where he's had double-figure shot attempts, free throw attempts. Battle is a little keg of dynamite. You know, he's just an elite scorer. He was having a great year last year before he had a season-ending injury, and he's kind of hitting his stride now. So Dunn and Battle, just explosive guards. They both are walking 20 pieces. And then the other kids just fit really good. Jalil White, I think, is their identity guy. Toughness, rebounder, straight line driver. Our point guard Mueller, Mueller is a shooter. Smart. They know how to run the system. They're a veteran group. All these guys played last year. Zach Hicks is the defines shooter. I mean, that's what he is. He's an elite three-point shooter. Guy that's always intrigued me on their team is Nick Jourdain. You know, he's kind of a do-everything, 6'9", really athletic, tough kid, block shots, do a lot of stuff. I mean, they're a very talented team. I think Aaron has got this group playing the right way. They play hard, very well coached. So just like every team we play, you know, this will be a tough game.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Matt Musil with KHOU TV. Matt, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Jim. Kelvin, I was talking with JoJo Tugler yesterday. What a talented kid. Is he the top big man coming out of high school this year? He's excited, of course, to get into that Houston program and get involved with you, but is he the best you've seen?
Best I've seen, put that in context, in the state, in the city.
In the state, yeah, in the state.
In the state. He was the best fit for us. I don't get into rankings or what other people think. You know, we just like JoJo and he fit us. So I think he'll be a good player for us.
What impressed you so much about him, Kelvin?
First of all, his size stands out. He's 6'8" and he weighs 230 and he's 17 years old. Naturally aggressive. He has a 7'5" wingspan. Elite shot blocker. I saw him play against all the top teams in the Nike AAU program this summer, and he was outstanding. You know, he's a very talented kid. Coach Flores over at Cy Falls does a great job coaching that group, and he is a outstanding young man. He has twin sisters that both played basketball and graduated. One has a master's, is working on a doctorate from Louisiana Monroe. Comes from a great family. JoJo is he's just an impressive young man, and I think he's got a chance to be really good.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Go to Greg Bailey with KTRK TV. Greg, please go ahead.
Kelvin, good morning. Notice.
Good morning.
And great to talk to you again. Notice, like everybody else, that Jamal Shead seems to be in the middle of so many good things for your team, particularly at Tulane. I think 7 assists. How far has he come in your program, and what does he mean to your club and your success on the floor right now?
I thought his freshman year was a great learning experience for him because he was a kind of the fifth guard on a Final Four team. You know, we had Quentin Grimes, Marcus Sasser, Dejan Jarreau, and then our first guard off the bench was Tremont. then the guard behind him was Jamal. Jamal didn't get to play very much at all first semester. Once we got into conference play, he just kept getting better in practice. Of course, going against Marcus and Dejan were his two biggest challenges each day. I think really made him better. And then last year, being his sophomore year, I didn't really pencil him in as a starter. I wanted to see if Marcus could take the next step, but I could tell early in the year that we had a good team, but Marcus was better being a receiver than a giver. And our team just fit better, offensively and defensively, which means we had to slide some people around. But I think the thing that really helped Jamal find his footing, get his confidence, was when Marcus and Tremont had the unfortunate injuries and had to, they had to sit down. We lost him for the year. So, Jamal was basically thrown in the deep end. He had to learn to do a lot of things. And I think it helped him that he knew he was going to play 30+ minutes a night. There was, he was not coming off the bench and spelling someone. He was the guy. And Jamal's has a very high IQ, tough kid. He's a point guard. There's a lot of kids that play point guard that are two guards that are masquerading as a point guard, but Jamal's a point guard in every sense. And I think this program's helped him mature. That was one of the things that he had to do. He was very immature when he got here. And in some instances, he still has a way to go in that area, but Jamal's getting better.
We'll go to Adam Winkler with KTRK. Adam, go ahead with your question, please.
Kelvin, we've heard you talk quite a bit that you guys, especially when you go on the road, you're going to get every team's best shot. It's going to be a sold-out arena. That could wear on a team, maybe even break a team. What have you seen from your guys as they continue to handle those opportunities, those atmospheres?
Well, that didn't start this year. A lot of people are just now starting to follow us and assuming it is just starting this year. This is Marcus's fourth year seeing that. I guess third year, you take away the COVID year. There was no fans. But we've had a target on our back around here for a long time. Jamal has seen it. Tremont has seen it. J1 has seen it. Reggie's seen it. Mark has seen it. So it hasn't broken us after 3 or 4 years. And this year, more eyes are on you. But that's just something outside the program that has changed for us. But inside our program, we don't change. We prepare for each game. At Oregon, for instance, how we prepared for Oregon and got ready for that game was no different than how we prepared for St. Mary's of Fort Worth, or how we prepared for Virginia and Charlottesville, or Cincinnati at Cincinnati, or Tulane at Tulane, Tulsa. It's our next game. So you're speaking about a big picture thing. And for us, is we keep everything in a very small picture. After the Tulane game yesterday, for the coaches was a heavy film day. We had to watch a lot of film yesterday, do all our analysis and evaluations, and each assistant coaches has a responsibility for post-game evaluations, and they have to give them to me by a certain time, and then we come in and discuss, watch film. And then when we're done that, we close the book. There's a period at the end of Tulane, and then we start a whole new paragraph, and that paragraph is Temple. And so for us, we'll just go on to Temple. We don't ever talk about how many people's going to be at the game anymore. I answer the questions about it, but it's there. We know it's there. you know, but they have to see a packed house when they come to our place too. You know, when we first got here, it was all the other way. You know, we didn't have any fans. Nobody cared about Houston basketball. But you go to SMU when Larry Brown was there, Moody was packed, Cincinnati was packed, Memphis, all the best programs. And, you know, we came to empty gym. So our players have not seen that, but I don't forget where we came from. I don't take it for granted. You know, I appreciate our fan base. They give us a great home court advantage, but we know when we get on that plane or get on that bus and head to our next game that it's there. But you know, you learn to focus on your team and getting them ready to play.
Thank you. We'll go to Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, please go ahead.
Morning, Kelvin.
Good morning, Joseph.
Kelvin, with Ramon rejoining the team, is that something that do you ease him back in, or is whatever was going on, is that, can you say, is it resolved, or is it something that's, you know, were you surprised that he was back as quickly as he was?
Well, no, nothing's a surprise for us because we talk to him every day. Ramon never really left the team. You know, he was always with us. It was he just had some things he had to work through. You know, we respect our kids. I think there's a mutual respect in our program. But he's you know, still battling through some things, and we're just going to give him as much time and space. And you know, we love Ramon. He's a big part of our program, but the season goes on. You know, our season's moving, and we allowed him the space to take his time, and when he's ready to resume, now I don't think he's practiced. Well, I shouldn't say I think. He has not practiced. You know, you know, we encouraged him to go on the Tulane trip. Yesterday, I know he was doing individual work yesterday on his own. He's in the weight room and in the gym. Today will be his first practice. But you know, we respect all our kids.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Andy Yanez from Gallery Sports. Andy, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good, Andy. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. This pops into my head when you were talking about
What's going on with Andy? What's going on with your hair today?
I need to get a haircut, sir. I
Either
know.
that or wear a baseball cap. I mean, there's a lot of solutions out there, but what you got going on there is just ridiculous.
No, for sure. Usually, don't worry. I usually fix it up when I go out. Believe me, I don't have it like this
I mean,
all the time.
Did you just get out of bed, wash your face, brush your teeth, and just throw that? I mean, it kind of looks like a wig.
It's not. It's 100% my hair. I just haven't had it down, sir.
I mean, I'm sure Chris Gardner sees no problem with it, but that's okay.
We need to switch hairs with Chris. But anyways,
Maybe not switch, just share.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm get a haircut within the next few days. Like I've been planning that. But what I was gonna say, this question pops in my head. I heard you talking about Jaleel White for Temple, and you called him the identity guy. I'm just curious, with this team, would you say there's an identity guy like that for in this year's team? Or is it still too early to tell halfway through the season?
Well, we had an identity guy back in June. Our identity guy really hasn't changed for us. It's always been Reggie. I think Reggie's our best identity guy. You know, he changes things and gives us an edge, things that we value in our program. You know, I don't put a lot of emphasis on statistics. I put a lot of emphasis on who impacts winning. You know, whether it's I just remember when I put him in the Charlottesville game, Virginia game, the impact he gave us. Reggie's our best pick and roll defender. Reggie's not a great rebounder, but he does a great job blocking out. Sometimes it's not how many you get, it's how many you discourage or don't allow. The other night, the way Tulane has an outstanding 5-man in Kevin Cross. He's a tough matchup. He was a much better matchup for Reggie, for instance, than JVA because he plays behind the 3-point line. JVA, can guard guys on the block, but maybe not outside in space, whereas Reggie can. I think the thing I appreciate most about Reggie, and I'm sure every coach does in this situation, is Reggie doesn't start. But the year we went to the Final Four, he did. Last year, he didn't start because we brought in Josh Carlton. This year, I had to make a decision on who was going to start. And I didn't really want to start Jarris and J1, but I felt like I needed both of what they had on the floor at the same time. But Reggie's attitude and his willingness to accept his role and still be that guy is something that I'm very appreciative of, because that's not easy. He has no ego. He cares more about winning than he does statistics, which I think is important in this program. So for us, I would say Reggie, but don't discount what Marcus does either. I think Marcus is one of the best. I don't get into who's the best guard. I don't know how. I haven't seen them all, so it's not fair to say. But I think when you evaluate players, you have to evaluate them at both ends. Are they two-way players? There's a lot of guys that are great on offense, but they don't guard anybody, and they just put up points. But I think being a winning player, you have to be really good at both ends. And that's where Marcus gives us a great identity as well.
Thank you, Andy. We got time for a couple more questions. We'll go back to Chris Gardner, please. Chris, go ahead.
Coach, what's your opinion assessment of the guards in the American Athletic Conference just overall?
Well, I haven't seen them all. There's a bunch of teams we haven't even played yet. I know how good Battle and Dunn is because I've seen them. We've seen Cincinnati. Tulane's got outstanding guards in Forbes and Cook. There's so many good guards in this league. Kendrick Davis is the reigning player of the year in the conference. So that speaks for itself. He's one of the better guards, I think, that we haven't played against a better guard since we've been here than Kendrick. And we play against a lot of really good guards. So I think this is an excellent guards conference. And I think that's what buoys most teams. There's better guards in this conference than there are centers, but I think that's true across the country. There's some teams that's got great centers, but college basketball is blessed to have as many over the years. You think all the great players, there's so many great guards. And this conference is loaded with them.
We'll go to Dayon Dunlap, please. Dayon, please go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, Coach Sampson?
Hey, Dayon. I'm just going out on a limb. That coach got to be at least 20 years old. Apex Cowboys. That's old school.
Same when Jimmy Johnson wear when he said, "How about some Cowboys?"
Yeah, I think Apex folded their tents about 20 years ago. That's why I knew that was an older jacket. You a Cowboys fan? Or you just like the jacket?
Born and raised. No, born and raised.
You and Kelvin. Kelvin loves the Cowboys.
I knew Kelvin was a good guy. Now, staying on the topic of guards and Marcus, what are you seeing from the way he's seeing the floor from a kind of a point guard perspective? Because after the post-game press conference after the game, he said in the first half he was kind of focused on facilitating. So I'm interested to hear from your perspective, what's your assessment of how he's seeing the floor from a point guard's perspective?
Well, sometimes the point of emphasis in certain games changes. Like I knew we had to have a heavy assist night against Tulane because they were in a zone. You're not going to play we're not going to isolate you in a zone. Ball has to move. When you play a matchup zone, there's certain areas of the floor that you have to get to, whether it's spacing or cuts or getting into gaps and kicking it. Sometimes Marcus is such a great kid. Sometimes he takes everything I say literal, and then, what I say to the team, sometimes I say, now, Marcus, it doesn't apply to you. Here's your role was a little bit different than these other cats. But Marcus is all about winning. He could, but good shooters usually have a window to get the ball off in. The best window shooter that I've coached since I've been here is Armani Brooks. Armani's window was very small. Because Armani had almost a 6'9" wingspan. When he extended his shot behind his head in his release, you better be in his grill, in his shooting pocket, if you're going to get to his shot. Whereas Marcus's shot is more in front of him, by his forehead. Armani's was behind his head. But so Marcus has a pocket or window to get his shot off in, and he was passing those shots up. That's why we had a little conversation during the game. But I didn't really have to say anything. I don't think what I said impacted anything. Marcus was going to do it anyway. He was just following the scout report early. But when the ball got swung to him, his job's to shoot it, not swing it to somebody else.
Thank you, Dan. We'll go to James Mueller from the Cougar, and then Joseph Duarte for the last one. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, good morning, Kelvin.
Morning, Jay.
Just on, you've talked a lot about, freshmen and just the progress they make month in, month out, being more with the program. Just what have you seen from Jairus defensively? Just that progress he's made, especially, getting in passing lanes, becoming a better rim protector, stuff like that.
Yeah, he's always been a natural shot blocker. When we were recruiting Jairus, whether we were following Team Thrill out of Baltimore or going down to Bradenton to watch him at IMG, Jairus is always a pretty good shot blocker. His problem was he thought defense was letting his man beat him and then run to the rim and block his shot. Well, that maybe work in high school, but it doesn't work here. But you can tell a lot about a kid. Our system is what it is. I don't know how to compare it to anybody else. I don't know what other people's system is, but ours requires to think a little bit. You gotta know where to be based on where the ball is and what action the other team's running. But Jairus cares. His care factor is very high because he asks great questions. Some kids nod their head because they're too embarrassed to say, I don't understand. So I don't ever ask a freshman a question. For them, it's about failure. It's important that they try and fail, because failure will eventually lead to success, especially if you fail enough. We make sure they understand it's okay to fail. That's not a problem here, especially in September, October, and early November. Now, by the time, the real bullets start flying in mid-November, thereabouts, you need to have a grasp, at least a little bit. But Jairus is ahead of most freshmen because of his intellect. He's very smart. Doesn't have great feet, but they're getting better. He's starting to understand left hand, right hand, dominant hand. He's understanding angles better. And he's got great teammates that help him. Jamal and Marcus, J1, and Reggie, those four especially. I think they care about our defense and our program, and they really do a good job of helping our freshmen. I would say that the players help the freshmen probably more so than I do. But I think that's good for the program. I'd much rather have a players-led program than a coach-led program anyway. That means that they're taking pride in it and they care.
Thank you, James. Last question, we'll go to Joseph Duarte again. Joseph, go ahead, sir.
Kelvin, I saw recently, I think it was ESPN Stats had a deal where you have eight of your wins are by 30 or more points, and that's the most here since I believe like the 60s.
30 or 20.
The 30 actually, 30 or more. There were 8. You have 8 of those of your wins. There's also another one out there about 20 or more, but the one that caught my eye was the 30, and I was wondering, is there a disadvantage when you win like that in terms of what you want to accomplish? Or, you come March, I'm sure games will be a lot tighter and closer, but during the regular season, is there a good side and a bad side to something like that?
I guess it could be, but I don't think that's I didn't even know about that stat. I hadn't thought about how many teams. All I can think of is our next game. I haven't really thought about that. I mean, we've been in plenty of close games. St. Mary's, Kent State. Don't really remember the Oregon game at the end. I don't think that was close at the end. Alabama was a very close game at the end. Virginia, I don't think, yeah, it was close at the end. 2 minutes to go. It was really, really close. So, but we're not going to apologize for the games we won, because we had to really play well in those games. But I also knew that we were going to play a tougher schedule than what, people that don't do this realize. At Norfolk State, had 5 starters back. You don't say, well, that's the team we're going to beat by 30 or whatever. Kent State, I knew how good they were going to be. St. Mary's, I don't even know who. I mean, I'm having a hard time thinking about who did we. I don't remember the games that we've played. Some of them. I just remember the most recent ones. I mean, if you asked me about a game, I could tell you, but I don't see that as an advantage or disadvantage, because we don't have much carryover here. I'm like the Tulane game, we won by 20. I never thought we'd win by 20. Sometimes you earn what you earn. But I saw enough wrong or mistakes that we need to correct. And I think that's always been our secret sauce is, we stay humble. I think humility is important. That's why I'm constantly reminding our players about where this program was. They can't relate to it because all they know is winning. But I remember, and I don't forget. I mean, humility and staying humble, I think are traits that allow the statistic you just mentioned, Joseph, to not become a factor.